Don't look at my hair. Hello and welcome to a new week where we try to work on this horse sculpture that we started last week. I've been just racking my brain about how to do some of these things. I've made a couple of pieces and I've adjusted some things. First thing is Happy New Year, obviously, and hope everything goes well for the new year for everybody, me included. Anyway, so coming back to this guy, so I've readjusted the one leg to bring it back to more in line with this one. If you remember, it was wider and it wasn't sitting right. I have some really big bulbous welds here. I still haven't decided if I'm going to shave them down or if I'm just going to leave them. They look a little weird, but I think that's just part of the magic, I think. And you can see here I have this shoe kind of floating in between the legs. I don't know how well you can see it on the screen, but it's just a magnet kind of holding it there while it's floating. And my original plan was to bring the back end, the hind end of the horse out first, just so we can get a good idea of what the body will look like. And so I made these pieces, and they would sit like this. Some orientation of this, but I don't think they're a bit wide enough. I'm just having issues trying to visualize. Usually I don't have these kind of issues visualizing our projects, but like I have issues, but I don't have like I don't have a starting point for the body. And so I've come up with a way to maybe give myself one. But anyway, I think the body would be too skinny, too slender if we use this as the baseline for the back end. So what I want to try to do is we're still going to use these in the future, but we might have to widen them out even more based on how the rest of the body comes into play. So what I've done is I've taken some more sliders because I thought it'd be cool to use sliders for the belly and the spine. So basically just wrap around the horse with sliders. Because I did pull the shoes that she offered for me to use out of the barn, and they're all just sitting on the floor over there. A lot of them still have nails in them. They're very, very rusty and they're not in good shape. So I have to spend a lot of time cleaning them up. Which I'll probably try to do this weekend. This week is the weekend. But I did take about 6 of them, and I widened them out quite a bit because sliders are normally very shallow, depending on the foot, obviously, or the hoof that it's going on. But they're generally about this width, right? Because they want to just limit the amount of surface area because you're trying to slide as far as you can. But I widened them out, and then I put a little bit of a curve in them for the belly. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm thinking, as long as I get the curve of this one correct, so it's kind of going in an upward inflection, and then it can come down and around if we do the back end, but we're going to do the belly first, and then we're going to add on to that. Now, the other problem is if we build the body this way, the legs might be too close together. I have them fully clamped down in the position that I thought I wanted them, but they might need to widen out. But I still want to build the belly first. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this shoe onto the legs right now and pray. That's it. But I'm trying to make sure that it's as straight as possible. And then as we go on, I'm just going to keep adding shoes and trying to keep them as straight as possible. And I did do some basic weird math on the picture of the picture, the reference picture that we're using. And I measured the legs and then the body, and then if the legs are this big, how long should the body be? And that brings me to the body, the underside. The curve up into the neck would start somewhere around here, the end of the table, which means the front leg, the one that's straight and into the ground, is actually going to come off the table, which means this guy's going to be pretty big. But that's just my basic math coming into this right now. But I'm thinking if we can get the belly up, started into the neck, and then also come around the back and do the body of the horse back here. We don't want to make him fat, but we also don't want to make him skinny. So I'm going to try to do it one shoe at a time, and see if the shape just comes to me, and then that can maybe kickstart what I'm envisioning. So like we kind of did with the deer, where we started with the head and then I just clamped it in there and then we built everything off of that. We're just going to try to do it backwards. The one thing I really don't want to happen on this sculpture here is for the head to be too small or too big. So I'd like to build it last. We might actually even also build it separately and then attach it to the whole thing, but that's a way in the future problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attack that shoe on there, and then I'm hoping once we get out about here, it's not going to break the welds, and then I could probably find a solution to hold it up while we continue the rest. So anyway, let's get this shoe tacked on, and see if this idea will actually just kickstart the idea process here. I was at a loss for a couple of days. Like I'm just staring at it, and yeah, I don't know. So let's see. I think I got it straight. It's hard with the magnet in the way to see if the heels are straight, but I'm going to do just a little bit of a stronger tack than what we're used to doing for this kind of stuff, just because I do really want it to hold. Okay. So if that's that way, and we have it kind of down, and then we just kind of start adding the shoes one at a time and make sure we don't put them upside down. I don't know if the clamps will hold them because they're going to hold right where we need to weld them. Yeah, that's not going to. Yeah, I might have to hold it with my hand, which could be problematic. Oh, because I don't want it to go like straight up. Like I don't want the angle to be too. I also don't want it to be just straight out either. I want it to just kind of have a belly. See, I think that might be too up. This is just me for the last 2 days. It's just putting something and taking a step back. I'm thinking maybe it needs to go down a bit more. Okay. So at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some tedious stuff. I'm going to take some time to clean up some more of the hind shoe or more of the sliding shoes so that we can actually make a good progress on what the body might look like, which means I'm going to have to bend them all in various degrees. I'm not going to put the fold in them. From this point forward, I think we're going to, yeah, I probably won't do that. I was going to say we'll continue, we'll call this fold and this bend just so we all know what we're talking about, but I'm going to mess that up anyway. So either way, the bends, the lengthwise bends, I don't think I'm going to put any in the hind end or up in the neck areas. I think that's just for the belly and the spine. And the spine, they're going to be like not noticeable. I'm going to put them in, but they're going to be as not noticeable because the horse's back is actually a lot flatter. There is like the spine, like the muscles around the spine actually kind of bow up sometimes. Like if the spine, like if this was the spine, this would probably be correct. And then we bring the back around it. But I'm not going to do that on the sculpture because that'd be silly. But I'll probably put a small bow in it just to make it so when we put all of the shoes to make the body, they can connect a little bit easier. That's basically what I'm going for. So at this point in time, we're going to do the same thing as we did with the deer. We're going to just try to get the body outline done up into the neck on both sides. And I think here is good. And I think once the bow is in there, it's going to shorten this guy. I think he might be a little stubby, short this way, but I think that's okay. As long as I make the legs long enough, it's going to probably even everything out. And once the body is kind of done, it's the head that's going to make the whole thing look like a horse, I think. I'm really happy with the legs, the hind legs. I think that's great. It's just, I keep thinking that the hind end needs to come right here. And so I got to get my brain around bringing it out and around. He's going to have a booty just because we want it to look like he's coming low to the ground. Right? And then the tail has to come off of that somehow. And so we want the tail to actually touch the same surface that the feet are gonna be on. And so I played around with the positioning of this thing. Like this is way too far forward, right? And then this seems right. but I want to have it further, like a little bit further out from the legs and tilt it a bit. So I might have to put like a twist in this, just a slight twist, just to give us the look we're going for. And then I also have these shoes here that I haven't cleaned up or anything yet. And they're going to sit inside this after, but they're going to be outwards a little bit. So it gives it that depth, that leg muscle depth that we're looking for. And so that's kind of already been said and done. It's just the how wide these things are really needs to change. I just don't know what it needs to change to until we get the frame done. So give me some time. I'm going to work on those welds and make sure that they've penetrated really, really well. We'll probably do the best welds on the underside because I'd like these ones just to look basic because that's the side you're going to see on the inside of it. And we'll make sure that we clean it up nice. These sliding shoes have a tendency to just oxidize so fast I can't get it off. So you'll notice that there's a lot of red on these shoes. And I brush them after they've cooled down like I do every other shoe. And these ones just stay oxidized. So looks like we're going to have a roan horse. Like a red roan is a type of horse color. And yeah, anyway, that's just, I'm kind of, okay. Anyway, we're going to be back when we have more pieces to finish this body up. And hopefully, I've got the belly in. Maybe we'll come back for when I do the belly. But for now, I'm going to just clean up a whole bunch of shoes, get some bends in them. Just various bends. I'm not going to try to make them all perfect right away, just so we can get an idea of what we're looking for. We'll be back. All right, so we have, I forgot to turn the camera on when I was doing the belly bend. Belly bend. So sorry about that, but it went really well. It wasn't as iffy as I thought it was going to be. So you can see here, yeah, we got our little bit of a belly bend. I didn't want to do too much, but it's way better. The only problem with this piece now is that the top two shoes here, we're gonna leave them for now, but I think I might have to cut them off and just readjust their angles, just to give us more elongation when it comes to the front of the horse. Either that, or we make a stubby horse. And then we just go straight up into the neck from here. I think this top shoe either way might have to be redone, but I really welded it on there good. So I'm going to have to cut it off as opposed to being able to just pull it off. I spent some time cleaning up a bunch of the shoes over here while also grinding them and then welding them at the same time. I was just doing a trifecta, just a triangle in the shop from the forge to the grinder to the nail poles, whatever I needed to do at the time. And I've made, right now, 6 curved shoes. So they're all different curves. Some of them are more curved and some of them are less. These are a couple of the lesser ones. And what we want to try to do here is just freehand to the bum. Freehand the hind end of this guy. And so we want to try to make sure that we're coming down and then back up around. And we want them to be kind of bubble butt. So we want to make sure that we're still coming out a ways at the same time as going up. So I think that might work. We're going to have to tack them on to find out for sure. But yeah, the more aggressive one, this one, I think I'm going to put on second, just because then we can have the more aggressive curve into the hind end. But we want it to come down a bit. Now I don't want it to look like it has a saggy bum. And so I was really trying to get this shoe curved down as much as possible without raising the front. And I think what I should have done is just heated it up again and put a bend here, a more aggressive bend here to bring it down. But I think we're going to just make do with what we got. And we're going to try to just bring this guy down gradually and try to make it look as natural as possible. There are ways to fix what it looks like afterwards with like covering it on the outside and stuff. So we're already gonna add a bunch of stuff to the outside of the legs just to give them that big leg shape. So I'm not as worried about what the underneath inside looks like. I'm still gonna think about it the whole time because I can't stop myself, but yeah. I'm just always so nervous about doing this stuff. I don't know what the angle should be here. I think something like that. I'm gonna give it a shot. Move this up here. Might have to get a different place to plug the welder in. So I'm still using these guys as reference. It's definitely gonna have to. They're gonna definitely have to be higher, like welded wider, forged wider. Because I figured out some measurements. I should probably talk about that. That seems about right. If we want to even bring it down a little bit more, we can. We can do that with the other shoe. We want to go wider. Give me a second while I answer my phone call. All right. So, that was Courtney, obviously. She's the only person that calls me. Yeah, so just problems with Potter. He's got an eye ulcer. I don't know if we've talked about this yet. And because he's an Appaloosa, they're more prone to eye injuries or infections or what have you. And so we've been trying to like aggressively treat this eye ulcer so it doesn't get to the point of permanent damage. And he's kind of a butthead, right? Just like most guys. So he just scratches it on stuff and it gets swollen and that kind of stuff. And it's really stressing Courtney out. So she's out running around trying to find proper masks to cover his eye. So it's just a little stressy. So that's what that was all about. And I think he'll be okay. I'm not overly worried about it, but the vet bills, they get really high. So, you know, that's the thing I worry about the most is the vet bills. I worry about Potter's health, but the vet bills are going to be out of this world if we don't get it treated soon. So anyway, back to building. We got some more of the more aggressive curves. And I'm just noticing now that we might have to do even more aggressiveness when it comes down to it. And we were talking about some measurements that I've taken. And so on our reference picture, it's from the bottom of the leg, the hind legs to the belly is about 13 or is about 1.5 inches or something like that. On the picture or what turned out to be, and then the same distance was the width of the back to the belly. And so we're going to try to do that same thing. And so that would be 13 inches. So from the bottom of the shoe to the belly is 13 inches, which kind of worked out, so I didn't have to do too much math. And so the 13 inches would be up here. So we got to at least get up to here. I mean, if we can have a fatter horse, it's fine, but we don't want to have anything skinnier than that. And so I think the bubble butt is going to have to come out a little bit more. It looks really weird right now. And I think if we get these on sooner than later, it's going to be better. So I think I'm going to have to heat them up and widen them more. I still don't know how I'm going to do that because it's really hard on the anvil to widen them in the same width, both of them at the same time, without ruining the heels of the shoes. Like, 'cause I like how they are. So I just want to widen the inside of it just to give it a wider thing. And I was thinking about 13 inches would probably get us where we want to be. So that means I need to widen it by almost 3 inches, which will happen quickly. But I think we can get away with 2 because then we can just round the back a little bit more. Yeah. So if we widen it, then it should bring us in line. So we're going to try to widen it so we're in line with this back shoe here. And then we'll put one of them on, maybe not both of them, so I'm not fighting in between them while we work. And so maybe we just put this outside one on in the angle that we think is correct. And then from there, we finish coming around. So then we just kind of have a line to follow. I didn't want to put these on until after the body was done, but I really don't want to put all of these shoes on the back side, and then it turns into these like not fitting in any capacity kind of thing. And actually, if we lower it, maybe I don't have to widen them as much. Anyway, give me a couple minutes or whatever it is. Courtney's bringing some lunch, so I'm going to go do that. And I'm going to heat these up. Just see where I'm at. I'll just tack one of them on and just look at it for a bit, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I realize that the hood, when I bring it down, hits where the mic is on this shirt. I got new shirts for Christmas from Courtney. I had a bunch of holy shirts from working in the shop. She got me a bunch of new ones, but the top button on this one is too high, and I like to have the mic right on the top button. And too low is just, well, it's too low, so just awkward. So if it sounds weird or I keep hitting it, my bad. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so I put that one hind piece on this side. I was going to put it on the other, this one on the other side, just so I had, well, so you guys could see more what we were going for. But I figured for my sake, seeing it like this from this side is way better. Now, I'm getting in the way of myself with this stuff because I keep seeing how like skinny the frame is, and I'm like, this doesn't look like a horse at all. And then I was trying to do the hind here, and I was like, that's just too much. But I have to remember that I'm going to be adding a lot to this. Like the tail's going to be coming down, and all that kind of stuff that's going to tie everything in, and I have to try to keep that in my head while we're working, so I'm not like trying to make it resemble the final product before we can. So there's that. So anyway, I tacked a couple of these things on, and like this hind curved section here is just barely tacked on. So I'm trying to be a little careful with it as to not jostle it too much. We'll put it on more permanently when we have an idea of what the rest of the body is going to come in to look like, because we might have to adjust it here and there. And I'd like it to be a little bit more bendy, like not to the point where I'm going to break the welds, but you can see like on this end here, I'd like it to be up like 1/4 of an inch, like if I could just pull it up a little bit. And I want to be able to do that when I weld the pieces in between that are going to brace it all together. Because remember, every shoe needs at least 3 contacts of weld for me to feel like it's not going to fall apart on somebody. So like I thought 2 was enough in some cases, and here and there, but for the most part, I want everything to have 3. The only problem, like the legs here, the back parts will have 3, but this front one will only have 2. So, well, no, it will have more than 2 because I'll put something in front of it. So, yeah, but right now, as it stands right now, it has 2. So, yeah. Anyway, so I want to keep going, and we're going to bring it around, and I think it's a skinny butt. So I want to bring it up a little bit more. I want a bulbous up here. So we're going to bring it up a little bit straighter, I think. We've got a couple of different kinds of curves here. That might work. Because if we do this measurement, I never actually measured this after I widened them. Yeah, it didn't get anywhere near where I thought it was going to, but so if we bring it to the bottom and up to the top here, that's 12, and then we can go one more, should bring us 13. And then we can bring it around, which will be nice. It's going to look skinny to start, I think. I think it's going to look really squished and skinny because of how long the body is. But again, we might switch this to being further up, right? Which means we'd have to just kind of adjust where we want the body to be. And then I also have this, hang on, 15, 11, that's curved. I have this one issue of I want to turn the shoes around. So I want the top shoes on the top to face the same direction that these shoes are. So this direction here, right? But if we kept going this way, the same way we've been going, they'll be facing backwards. And so we're going to turn them around probably on this next one. Specifically because I think that's where we're going to put the tail. And if we put the tail right on that spot, then it will cover the turnaround, potentially, hopefully. So this weld is going to be a long, big one that doesn't break. So I want to make sure I do it right. Like if I mess this one up, it will have to be cut. So right now, I'm just gonna add the second tacks to these guys here. Just because they weren't double tacked, just because I wanted them a little bit more malleable. Whew. Holding the thing that I'm welding stiffens up the gloves a bunch, so I gotta, like, you can feel the heat through it pretty quickly, so you gotta just be careful. I just keep putting down the shoe that I want to use. I can never remember which one. Okay, it's this one. I don't want to bring it too close. I want it up a bit. Try to make sure it's as straight as possible. Not turning. because we want the back to start going up now. I just wonder. If we just start going up from this curved one, it might give it a little character. I'm gonna have to clean some shoes. Well, I've cleaned them, I just have to forge them up. Just widen them, put some bends into them. We're getting there. It's coming. It's coming along. What time is it? I can't get the picture out of my head that it's just a saggy bum. It's driving me nuts. But I'm trying to ignore it for now. We do have to go through from this part here all the way down and just weld everything nice. And we'll just do that off of camera, just because that would just be boring. Oh, that might be too up. So I've made a couple of flatter shoes. I just widened them and flattened them so they were kind of in line with the other ones. And now we're just seeing if it works. I think that might be too up. Yeah, it's too up. Oh, too good. That's a bit better. You can bring it. It does look like he's got a really long butt. I don't know. But it does look like he's got a really long keister. Hopefully when we shape it out, right, it's gonna encompass some of that longness. We also want to bring it up a bit. So you can see that there's some movement here. We want to bring it as far forward as it will go. So, because we want these shoes to be ahead or inside of the leg curves of these guys. So we want them to bring them up just a little bit, like half an inch. And we'll do that once we get the whole setup where the clamps are holding it all in place. I'll make sure that we have something pushing this up. So then when we're putting the body together, it all just flows. I did go through and I did weld the tops and bottoms of all of the other pieces. I didn't do the leg curve yet, just because we might have to move it. So back or forward a little bit. We will see. But if we just keep going like this, we should have something that resembles the back of the horse. Again, we still want, it's hard for me to imagine, but I know we still want to keep going on this incline. because I still feel like I have to, oh no, the back of the horse should come across. But then we'll have a problem. We need to, horses' necks are thick, so we need to make sure it's pretty thick here. Oh, I just broke that weld. Let's, before it completely falls apart, let's fix it. All right. It's barely being held together by anything right now. But I have it tilted. I moved the table. It's getting kind of hard to reach up to do this, but it will make it easy to do the bottom welds. Welding upside down sucks though. But I'm not about to unclamp it and turn it upside down to do this, so that's how I'll do it. Anyway, so the last couple of shoes there took me a couple of minutes, quarter hours, whatever it took to figure out where the neck starts, the top of the neck. And I think it starts right there. I think the top of the neck's going to start right here, which means we need to bring this back. Because I think right now, as it stands, we're going to just start curving around, and then the head's going to be over here. And I think this one shoe we didn't use for the hind end, this one curved shoe, is going to be perfect for us to start the front of the front of the neck. But I want to adjust this shoe first, so I have to cut that off, unfortunately. So I'll do that off camera or something, maybe in the morning when I get up. And then we're going to figure out how to secure it. We still want to make sure that we can pump it together a little bit because we want to bring the bum up. Oh no, oh no. Hang on, everybody hold on. Hold on, something really bad is happening. It's fixable, but it's really bad. Stay there. The welds, these two welds are holding this whole thing up. And I didn't make them the most secure I could. So I have to do that right now. For everything bad happens. Because they just started failing. Well, we're going to call that there for today. At least it came off in pieces, not like every shoe fell apart. I can fix it. It's just, yeah. This just goes back here. I should have secured it first, and I didn't. So, unfortunately, a bunch of that work is just donezoed. I mean, that's what I get for not securing the welds as we're going. But it's just 3 pieces. The back guy didn't fall off, so that's really good. The biggest thing I'm going to have to try to do is get it back exactly the way we had it. This big piece. So then my brain going to go, oh yeah. That's how we were doing it. Yeah, I think I can do that pretty easily. But yeah, I just had these 2 little spot welds kind of holding that whole thing together, and that was a really bad thing for me to do. It was not smart. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, hopefully I have it all put back together. And while I have it off, I think I'll probably cut that shoe off, since it'll be a lot easier to cut the shoe off. And I can get the bottom parts of those welds done too, which will be really good. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Who knows? We will see. But look, we're back to the way we started today. Or nope, I don't know. It's back to just legs sitting on the table. Oh, I should have been playing with it. Okay, anyway, we'll be back, and hopefully this turns into something beautiful tomorrow. Hello. Okay, we're back. We're back to where we were. So we got it all pieced back together. It wasn't as horrible as I was anticipating. So you see, I put this clamp here to hold the back end up a bit, and yeah, and then I cut the end shoe off, and I put the curvier one on to bring to start the bottom of the neck. Now we're not going to add to the neck today or this week. We're going to try to fill in parts of the body here. Yeah. So what I've done is I've probably about 20 shoes, 20 or more, I've cleaned and curved. So I've put the a bit of a curve in all of them. Some of them are a little bit more, some of them are a little bit less, because I'm just gonna grab shoes and figure out what works. And then for the center of the body mass, I decided that it would be cool to put heart bar shoes in there. And so we're going to try to do that right now. Because I figure if we can get the center in, right? This thing is throwing me off because I keep thinking it's a leg. And so I'm like, this is the center, but it's not. This here is the center. But anyway. So I've put a curve in those, and I figured like there's definitely going to be times where none of those shoes work and I have to adjust them in some way. But I also didn't want to have to make each individual shoe and curve each like piece it together like one shoe. So I put one shoe on, then I go and clean one up and forge it, and then wait for it to cool, and then put it on, and then just back and forth. So I made a whole bunch, and then in hopes that a lot of them are going to fit. And then every time we come into a situation where we need a specific shoe to be twisted in a certain way or something like that, we can put that aside and do it after. So one of the things that I got to make sure that I'm not doing is putting these guys straight up and down, like trying to make them straight up, like, so I want them to be like kind of going back like the body should. And then I have to figure out angles in order to bring the body out enough, but also make sure that a shoe will fit there and there. And then we can do one at a time all over the body. One of the things, I just lost my train of thought. I realized that this back, the back curvy piece is going to have to come off 100% after we get down to this part, because we're going to put the shoes out past it, and then we're going to try to put it back on after, in a way. I've made some bigger shoes. I cleaned up some bigger shoes than the rest. All of those are tiny little shoes, because that's what she had. But I got cleaned up some bigger shoes. Oh, these ones could be way better cleaned up. I might have to reheat them. But I want bigger shoes around where the legs are going to attach. So these probably are going to be the front ones. I got some hind ones here that are bigger as well, and I thought that would be cool to put them back there. And but we'll see. We might have to widen them. We might have to do all sorts of things to those. I'm hoping I remember what I was going to say, because I was going to say something. But anyway, getting this angle right is, excuse me, is going to be difficult to say the least. So I want to make sure that the first shoes that go on have the angle we want. Now, I can't decide if I want the shoes to go in between these shoes or in line with the shoes, and then we'll have bigger gaps. So we're going to have many little issues here and there, but the angle is what matters the most right now. And I was trying to use the magnets to try to give me a good angle, but the magnets aren't like, can't hold the shoe on the angle that I want it to and hold it. Like, it's just, because I don't want it to be a fat boy, but I do want him to be thicker. And I really got to figure out where the center mass of that. I think it's back this way a bit. It just feels like it's coming out way too much. But then when I put this guy on, it's just, woof. So we're going to have to just be careful with it, but then only tack things until we have the width the way we want. And so I might just tack this guy on this way. On that angle, because it's just simple and easy. And then we can see from there. Yeah, let's just tack them on. And while I was waiting for the shoes to heat up and stuff, I was playing around with this. So it's a little, it's got a little thought put into it already. Now when it comes to the body pieces, I don't have to weld like both sides of the shoe as much as I did with the frame pieces, because I'm not afraid of them like falling off randomly, because they're all going to have many points of weld, many points of contact. And so I'm not going to be as see that shoe's too small, but it's good. I think we should probably put that shoe on this side anyway. Try to get the centers to match up as much as possible. So let's try to find some longer shoes. The problem with using tiny shoes is that you can only make them so long. So yeah, we might have a problem. We might have to, I might already have to get some bigger shoes to get this to work. We're just gonna have a whole like mess of shoes just sitting here. These are kind of stubby. I don't think they'll work. That angle's good though. Because I don't want to bring it down. I'd rather it go up. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hold this guy, get him tacked on. And then just see. I wonder if these guys need to be curved more. I wonder if I need to shoot this big. Might need a little bit more. These guys might need a little bit more curve to them, which is unfortunate. But that also means that if I heat those guys up, I can clean up a pair of bigger shoes. These are bigger, but maybe not big enough. Ugh, I don't want to use too big of a shoe. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'm probably going to heat these guys up and then let's see here. Hang on. Whoa. All right, give me a couple of seconds. I'll be right back in a flash, and we'll get these cleaned up and these curved bore. All right. So we've curved the heart bar shoes a little bit more. We've made some size 2s of the Aventers, curved them up, and we're going to see if that works. While I was waiting, I threw the other side's shoe on. I don't know if it's at the exact same angle, so we might have to rip it off, but we will see. So either way, we're going to try our best to get this where we want it to. I think I kind of liked it where it was before, but that might be harder than anticipated. Well, that was rough. It's really close. I think it's close enough, or good enough, if you will. Oof. It's pretty solid. Now, when it comes to doing all the small shoes, I've realized that in order to put, because 3 like this won't be enough to do it. So I think one of the things we have to do is just kind of put them on, and as long as the angles are right. I'm just realizing now that some of these are going to have a hard time fitting in. So there's a mistake that's already been made on my end, is that curving all of the shoes in the same direction makes it feel like you should have to just do strips all the way down. And that doesn't work. Like, it could work, but there'll be gaps everywhere. So what I was trying to say, though, is 3 won't be enough, and 4 will be too many. So we might have to go a little wonky with it. Maybe do something like this. That could be pretty cool. So we're going to have to think about that, which unfortunately doesn't give us enough time to finish the body this week, because unfortunately I'm out of time today too. I have to go and give Potter his medication and then have dinner and stuff. So I feel like we got a good amount done. Not as much as I wanted. I wanted the body fully encompassed. Maybe I'll work on it here and there off camera just a little bit. Just add shoes there, here and there. Just so that we can move it around without having to worry about it falling apart. I think that if we follow this frame all the way down, it'll be good. We want to kind of bring it in and then out again around the hind end. I don't know how I'm going to do that just yet, because the legs might have to move, which would be really terrible if they have to move out a little bit. But we'll have to see. We'll see if I can build them up the way that they are. So I build on the outside of them, try to give them a little bit more definition. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching this week. I really appreciate it. It was kind of stressful for me doing this little skeleton frame thing, especially when it fell apart. But we got through it, and I feel like things should be going fairly quickly now, because we'll fill in the body once I figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. And then we just add more of the sliders to frame out the neck, and then we fill that in, and then we'll probably do the front legs after that, and then the last thing we'll do is the head. But yeah. I don't know where to go, but thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you again next week. Happy New Year and all that stuff. But we're out of here.